The Galactic Academy's combat theory classroom fell silent as Professor Zekar's crystalline form shimmered with disapproval. The insectoid professor had been lecturing about human weakness for the past hour, and Lara Chen sat rigid in her seat, her knuckles white against the desk's edge. Humans, ZHK clicked, his mandibles creating a sound like breaking glass, are perhaps the most overrated species to join the Galactic Coalition. Fragile bones, slow reflexes, primitive emotional responses. They survived Earth through sheer luck, nothing more. Lara's jaw tightened. Beside her, her boyfriend Jox Taylor placed a calming hand on her arm, but she could feel the tension radiating from him too. They were the only two humans in a class of 47 students, representing species from across 12 sectors. From the back row, a deep, rumbling laugh echoed. Kretos, a Valorian battle champion whose species had conquered 17 worlds before joining the coalition, stood to his full 8-foot height. His obsidian skin rippled with what passed for amusement among his kind. "The human female looks angry," Kretos announced, his voice like grinding stones. "Perhaps she wishes to prove her species' worth. I have crushed warriors twice her size." Jox started to rise, but Lara's hand shot out faster, gripping his wrist. "Don't," she whispered. "This is mine." Professor ZHX's compound eyes glittered. Now, Cadet Lara, surely you don't wish to engage in I accept," Lara said, her voice cutting through the classroom like a blade. She stood slowly, deliberately, her 5'6" frame dwarfed by nearly every being in the room. Arena rules. Full contact. No restrictions. The classroom erupted in a cacophony of excited clicks, whistles, and growls. Gaykar's form flickered rapidly, the crystallide equivalent of stuttering. "This is highly irregular. I cannot sanction Academy Code. Section 47, Paragraph 12. Lara recited calmly. "Any student may invoke trial by combat to defend their species' honor against direct provocation. You provided the provocation, Professor." He accepted the implication. "I'm merely responding." Gaykar's silence was answer enough. The entire class knew she was right. 20 minutes later, the Academy's combat arena was packed. Word had spread through the station like wildfire. A humaner, female human, no less, was challenging Kretos, the Unbroken. The betting pools had opened immediately, with odds running 100 to 1 against Lara. JX stood at the edge of the arena, his face a mask of concern and pride. He knew what Lara was capable of, but Valorians were living weapons, bred for war across generations. "You don't have to do this," he said as she stripped off her academy jacket, revealing the tactical mesh beneath. Lara stretched, rolling her shoulders. "Yeah, I really do. He'll try to grapple you, get you in close where his strength's advantage. I know." She turned to face him, her dark eyes fierce. "Jox, I've got this. Trust me." He nodded slowly. "Always." The arena floor was 100 meters of reinforced durasteel, designed to withstand punishment that would level buildings. Lara walked to the center, bare feet silent against the metal. Across from her, Kretos entered to roars from the Valorian section of the crowd. "I will make this quick, little human," Kretos announced, his voice amplified across the arena. "Your species should learn humility." Lara said nothing. She simply settled into a ready stance, weight balanced, breathing controlled. The starting klaxon blared. Karthos charged immediately, exactly as Lara had predicted. Valorians believed in overwhelming force, in breaking their enemies through sheer physical superiority. He closed the distance in seconds, his massive fist swinging toward her head with enough force to crack stone. Lara wasn't there. She'd moved with a speed that shocked the crowd, sliding under his punch and inside his guard. Her elbow struck the nerve cluster just below his third rib, a weakness in Valorian anatomy that few knew existed. Kretos grunted, surprised, and swung his other arm in a wide arc. But Lara was already moving again, her body flowing like water around his attacks. She struck 3 more times in rapid succession: kidney, solar plexus, the back of his knee. Each hit was precise, calculated, targeting the specific vulnerabilities that human xenobiologists had mapped for every coalition species, because that's what humans did. They studied, they learned, they adapted. Karthos roared in frustration and pain, trying to grab her, but she was too fast, too unpredictable. Every time he thought he had her, she was somewhere else, striking from a new angle. A palm strike to his throat, a knee to his midsection, a spinning kick that rattled his skull. The crowd's roar had changed from excitement to disbelief. "Stand still," Karthos bellowed, his movements becoming wild, desperate. That's when Lara struck. She feinted left, drawing his attention, then pivoted and launched herself at his center mass. Her knee drove into his already battered solar plexus, and as he doubled over, she caught his head and brought it down to meet her rising elbow. The impact echoed across the arena. K. Erthos, the unbroken champion of 17 conquered worlds, collapsed to the durasteel floor and didn't rise. The silence lasted exactly 3 seconds. Before the arena erupted, Lara stood over her fallen opponent, chest heaving not from exhaustion but from the adrenaline. She looked up at the crowd, then directly at Professor ZHKR's viewing box. "Humans don't survive through luck," she said, her voice amplified across the arena. "We survive through adaptation, intelligence, and the refusal to quit. We may not be the strongest, fastest, or toughest species in the galaxy." She paused, letting her words sink in. "But we're the ones who learn from every species we meet, who turn every disadvantage into strategy, who never, ever stop fighting." She turned and walked toward Jox, who met her at the arena's edge with a fierce embrace. "That," Jox whispered into her hair, "was incredible." "That," Lara replied, pulling back to grin at him, "was necessary." Behind them, the crowd continued to roar. The odds in the betting pools had just shifted dramatically, and in the viewing box, Professor ZHKR's crystalline form flickered with what might have been respect. From that day forward, the lectures on human weakness stopped. Instead, the Galactic Academy added a new required course, Human Combat Theory, taught by Cadet Lara Chen. Because if there was one thing the galaxy learned that day, it was this: never mistake human kindness for weakness, and never, ever pick a fight with a human in front of their entire species. They don't just fight back, they make sure the lesson sticks. The end.